Hey there. Tonight we drift gently into the shadows of a different London. Not the London of royal banquets and grand opera houses, but a city wrapped in soot, where the fog seeps through the keyholes, and the floorboards remember every tired footstep. A place where warmth is borrowed, and survival is a quiet daily negotiation. So, before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe out, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments. Where are you listening from? And what time is it as you settle in? Now, dim the lights, maybe pull your blanket a little tighter, and let's wander into the quiet struggle of Victorian London together. Your morning begins with a creak. One sharp groan from the warped wooden floorboard beneath your straw mattress. That's your alarm clock. Unreliable but punctual. The air is damp and heavy, carrying the scent of mildew, coal smoke, and something faintly sour you've long given up identifying. You blink and realize your shoulder is pressed against the cold wall. The plaster crumbles slightly when you shift. It always does. You're not alone in the room. Never are. There are 5 of you, all jammed together in a space, meant for one proper guest in a better part of town. But this isn't Belgravia. This is the edge of Southwark, where chimneys outnumber trees 10 to 1. You sit up, slowly. A button from someone else's coat presses into your palm. The blanket slips off your knees and lands with a muffled slap on the floor. The only thing softer than the blanket is the dirt beneath it. You look around. The youngest, your sister, is still curled beside the stove. Not that it works. The stove's been more decorative than functional since last winter. And by decorative we mean rusted shut and home to a family of spiders. In the far corner near the cracked chamber pot, your uncle is already muttering in his sleep. You try not to listen. His dreams have been getting louder. The window, if you could call it that, is nothing more than a rectangle of warped glass. So smudged with coal dust it may as well be a wall, but it lets in the sound of hoofbeats, of a vendor dragging a cart over the cobbles, and of a woman arguing with someone 3 stories up, about something neither of them can afford. The light filtering through is colorless. Not gray. Just the absence of anything you'd call morning. There's no sink. No wash basin. You splash your face from the same chipped pitcher everyone else uses. The water is cold. So cold it steals your breath, But it's better than nothing. Sometimes, someone knocks over a boot. Not with a foot in it, thankfully. You all pretend not to notice. There are only 2 boots in the entire room and 4 people who need them today. You dress beneath the blanket. Not for modesty, there's no modesty here. But for warmth. Every layer counts. Even if the shirt you pull over your head still smells faintly of last week's chimney sweep job. There is no mirror. No sense in looking anyway. You already know what's there. Pale skin. Hollow cheeks. Eyes a bit too tired for someone your age. You slip a piece of bread hard enough to tap liquid into your coat. It's your breakfast, lunch, and possibly dinner. Depends on whether you can find a factory job today. And as you reach for the door handle, the room shifts behind you. Someone coughs. Someone snores. And for just a second, you hesitate. Because out there, the fog waits. You step outside. And the first thing that greets you is not the sun. It's the fog. Not the misty kind that poets love, but a thick, sour curtain of smoke and damp that clings to your coat and seeps into your lungs like a slow punishment. You cough. Everyone coughs. It's almost a greeting in this part of London. Even the street lamps are still burning, useless yellow halos glowing faintly through the murk, their light swallowed by the morning gray. Before it touches anything useful, you glance left. A milk cart squeals by on rusted wheels, and you swear the milk looks more like water. No surprise. If it's got milk in it at all, it's a lucky day. You turn right. A man in a top hat pushes past you, scowling, muttering about time and tobacco. His coat is 3 times finer than yours, and smells strongly of lavender and wealth. He doesn't see you. Or maybe he does, but he's trained himself not to notice people who don't shine. You keep walking. The ground is slick beneath your boots, not from rain, but from something less polite, a mixture of ash, mud, manure, and whatever was tossed from windows last night. It squelches when you step. Sometimes it bubbles. You don't ask why. Ahead, the baker's chimney is already coughing into the sky. You inhale, and for a split second, there it is, the smell of warm bread. But you're not here for bread. You're here for the line. The one that curls around the alley, where men and boys wait for news of work. There's no guarantee. It's first come, first chosen. And today, you're late. A boy 2 heads shorter than you gets picked to haul coal in the factory yard. He flashes a grin missing 3 teeth. You nod half proud, half bitter. You tighten your scarf and shuffle on. Past the butcher, where something vaguely red hangs in the window, and you pray it's beef, but you don't look long enough to be sure. Past a dog chewing on a discarded glove, like it might contain meat, and past an old woman crouched near the lamppost, selling chestnuts that have been roasted to the point of becoming pebbles. Your stomach growls loudly. She hears it but doesn't look up. She's heard too many stomachs this morning already. You consider walking toward the docks. Sometimes they need extra hands to lift crates. But last week, a boy your size got crushed beneath a shipment of barrels. They say he didn't make a sound. Just folded like paper. Still, work is work. And hunger is louder than fear. So you cross the street, dodging a horse-drawn carriage that doesn't slow down. The driver spits something that might have been an apology, or just another piece of London phlegm. You reach the dock gate. A man with a clipboard squints at you. No work today, he mutters. Try again tomorrow. You nod. You always nod. And walk away, 1 foot after another, like you're dragging the day behind you. Because in this city, you don't own your time. You borrow it. And sometimes, London forgets to give it back. By mid-morning, your coat has soaked through at the cuffs, not from rain, but from brushing against too many wet crates, soaked ropes, and door frames that drip with condensation like they're sweating out the city's nerves. Your hands ache, not from labor, but from the way you keep clenching them in your pockets, trying to hold on to what little warmth you have left. You wander. There's no rush anymore. No work, no breakfast. Just hours to fill. Before night returns, the market square is half awake. Vendors yell in half sentences, some offering shriveled potatoes, others hawking newspapers printed hours ago, already outdated, already stale. You pass a stall with pickled eels in cloudy jars. The smell strikes like a slap. Vinegar and brine and yesterday's regret. Next to it, a man sells apples with bruises the size of pennies. He holds one up like it's gold. You smile politely. He lowers it. Not today. In the corner of the square, a boy plays a tune on a tin whistle. It's shrill, slightly off-key, but oddly comforting. He plays like it matters. Like someone might toss him a coin and make the song mean something. No one does. You sit on a step near the edge of the market, just long enough to rest your ankles. Across the street, a woman scrubs a shop window with a rag. That's more whole than cloth. She hums as she works, and for a moment, the sound almost drowns out the city behind her. But then, a carriage rumbles by, splashing muck across the sidewalk, and her clean window becomes a canvas of filth again. She sighs. You sigh too. You rise. It's best not to stay still too long. Stillness invites questions. From constables, from vendors, from the cold itself. You walk toward the alley behind the bakery, hoping for a crust left behind. The back door is open. Steam curls from the oven inside, and for a few glorious seconds, You bask in its warmth, eyes closed, breathing in yeast, salt, and the faint miracle of something being made, instead of falling apart. Then, the door slams shut, a thud of finality. You are outside again. Back in the city, that asks for everything, and offers nothing, unless it can tax it. You find yourself on narrow street. Not a name. A warning. The buildings lean in here, close enough to whisper secrets. Laundry hangs above like flags of quiet surrender. An old man limps past, dragging a cart with 2 bent wheels and a wobbly axle. He nods at you. You nod back. That's the closest thing to conversation you'll have today. At the end of the street, a shop window displays boots. Sturdy, polished, lined with something soft. You don't stop walking, but your eyes do, just for a moment, and then they blink. And so do you, because in London, you don't get to dream with both eyes closed. Lunch, if you can call it that, is a roll of bread so dry it echoes when you bite into it. You sit behind the tannery, on a low stone step that smells faintly of lie and regret. And you chew slowly, not because you're savoring it, but because there's nothing to wash it down with. The Thames is nearby. You can hear it, thick and slow, moving like it's carrying secrets. You used to think about what might float in it. Now you try not to. A gull lands on the chimney above you. It stares. You toss it a crumb. It snatches it midair and flies off. That's the day's only successful transaction. You wipe your hands on your coat, though it doesn't help. The dirt just moves around, like it's part of you now. Someone shouts in the distance. A fight? A sale? Hard to tell in this city. Everything sounds urgent, even when it's not. You walk again. There's a factory at the edge of Spindle Street. You've tried there before. The air outside it hums, a constant rattle of iron and fire. It smells like sweat and burnt fabric. Today, a foreman leans against the wall, watching the workers spill out for their mid-shift break. You walk over, quietly, hoping he'll ask your name. He doesn't, but he does say, "Come back tomorrow," which is better than no. So you nod, and pretend that's a promise. You continue on, past a group of chimney sweeps, boys no older than 12, with faces so blackened you can only see the whites of their eyes. They laugh as they shove each other, covered in soot and pride. One limps. You wonder if that's permanent, but he still grins. A girl walks past in the opposite direction, balancing a bundle of rags on her head like it's treasure. She hums a lullaby you think you once knew. And just like that, the moment passes. You reach a small park, or what used to be one. Now it's more mud than grass. A bench leans sideways, half swallowed by the earth. Still, you sit, and for the first time today, you close your eyes, only for a minute, maybe less. But in that minute, the city softens, just enough. A breeze brushes your cheek. The clouds shift. You remember, for no reason at all, the way your mother used to smell of lavender and coal dust. You don't cry. Not here. Not now. The moment ends when a bell rings, somewhere far, calling someone else to something you're not part of. You stand, again, because in Victorian London, rest is not a right, it's a luxury, and yours has just expired. The streets in the afternoon smell different, less like bread and foggy, more like tired horses, burnt oil, and the inside of a chimney. You walk slower now. Your feet have stiffened in your shoes, and the blisters that began this morning are now arguments with every step. Still, you keep going, because what else is there? You pass a row of shop fronts, one selling ink, another selling umbrellas that look like they've already lost one fight too many. Inside the tailor's window, a mannequin wears a coat so fine, you feel colder just looking at it. It has buttons, actual buttons. No strings. No pins. Just neat, gleaming brass. You look down at your own coat. You don't touch it. You don't have to. At the corner of Idle Street, a group of men huddle in front of a poster. It's fresh, still curling at the edges. Something about a ship heading for Canada. Passage paid, meals provided, and a new life promised in large, hopeful font. You stop for a breath too long, and one of the men glances at you. "Don't bother," he mutters, as if reading your thoughts. "Already full." The others nod. No one moves. You leave quietly. At the butcher's stall, flies buzz lazily over meat that looks ambiguous. A child reaches out to touch it. His mother slaps his hand away, then looks around to make sure no one saw. You did, but you look away. That's the rule. Don't stare. Don't linger. Don't let the city notice you more than it already has. Near the corner, you see a lamplighter. He moves with the rhythm of someone who's done this 1,000 times. Stick up, flame lit, a small burst of orange against the gray sky. One by one, the lamps flicker to life, tiny rebellions against the dusk that's already settling in. You pause to watch. It's oddly soothing. There's something beautiful about the way light returns to the streets. Not all at once, but in tiny, stubborn pieces. He nods as he passes you, not unkind. It might be the warmest thing you've felt today. You take a longer route home, if you can call it that. The boarding house sits at the edge of wherever people stop caring to pave the streets. Its windows sag. The bricks seem tired, but it stands. And tonight, that's enough. You climb the narrow staircase, each step groaning under the weight of your silence. Your room is still there. Bare, small, but yours. A cot in the corner, a chair that leans slightly to the left, and a blanket. That's only warm in theory. You sit, and then you don't. You lie back, hands on your chest, and stare at the ceiling. It leaks, of course, but the drip has rhythm, and that's something. Outside, the lamplighter has reached your street. The light glows faint through the cracked glass. A flicker of kindness, or a trick of the fog. Either way, you're not in complete darkness anymore. Night doesn't fall in Victorian London. It seeps, creeps in through the gaps in your window frame. Under the door, through the floorboards, a slow tide of shadow, heavy with soot and silence. You stay still, because moving makes you feel colder somehow. The lamp outside flickers. A moth bumps against the glass. You watch its wings blur, soft and frantic, until it gives up, just like you did. Somewhere between the butcher's stall and the curling edges of that Canada poster, you shift slightly on your straw mattress. Crinkles like dry leaves. Something sharp pokes your hip. You hope it's just a twig. The blanket you're wrapped in smells like coal dust. What shoes? And every person who's used it before you. It covers you, but it doesn't comfort you. Someone coughs down the hall. A thick, rattling kind of cough. The kind that settles into the walls and stays long after the person is gone. You pull the blanket tighter. Curl your fingers into the edge, like it might protect you from tuberculosis. It won't, but it's something to hold. A floorboard creaks above. Not a ghost, just Mrs. Hargreaves pacing again. She never sleeps. Says the dreams are worse than the cold. The chamber pot in the corner is full. You know this without looking, because the air has taken on that particular tang of stale urine and hopelessness. You try not to breathe through your nose. A rat scurries behind the wall. Its claws sound louder at night. You've named him Henry, because even pests deserve names. When they share your rent, you wonder if rats dream. You hope they do, and you hope they're better dreams than yours. The wind picks up, whistling through the cracks. The window rattles, and a chill sneaks under the blanket to run its fingers up your spine. You curl tighter, knees to chest, shoulders hunched, a posture of survival. You can hear someone crying 2 rooms over. Not loudly, just the kind of soft, rhythmic sobbing. That sounds like a leaky faucet in a house that already has too much water and too little warmth. The city is quiet. in the noisiest way. Carts rattle on cobbles. Steam hisses from underground pipes. Somewhere far off, a dog barks, once, then stops. You hear glass breaking, a shout, then nothing. No one checks, because everyone knows. You survive longer by not asking questions. The lamps burn low now, orange halos swallowed by the soot in the air. The fog outside is so thick, you can barely see across the street. It's not romantic. It's not candlelight mist. It's more like breathing through a damp wool scarf that's been soaked in chimney ash. And it's inside too. You can feel it in your lungs, in your teeth. Even your fingernails feel dirty, in a way no water can fix. Not that you have water. You use the last of your ration to wash your socks, which still smell like river rot and old bread. You lie there, listening to Henry scratching, Mrs. Hargreaves pacing, someone coughing, someone crying, and the wind. Always the wind, whispering that tomorrow might not be better, but it will still come. That's the thing about London. It doesn't care how tired you are. The city keeps going. So you have to. You close your eyes again. And for a moment, just a moment, you pretend the blanket is warm. The floor is clean. And the sound of footsteps in the hallway is someone bringing good news. But of course it isn't. Still, you breathe slow, because there's nothing else to do. And eventually, sleep takes you, like the fog doesn't, without asking. By late morning, London no longer yawns. It growls. The streets pulse with movement, boots slapping cobblestones, vendors shouting from carts, and wagons groaning under barrels of something that smells not quite legal. You're not walking so much as dodging. First, a child sprints past, barefoot, eyes sharp, and you feel a tug at your coat. You grab your pocket. Still there. Lucky. A man ahead isn't. He turns around, confused. His coin purse already gone. The thief vanished like fog. That's London justice. You keep walking. The air hasn't improved. If anything, it's thicker. A blend of horse sweat, coal smoke, rotten cabbage, and someone's forgotten laundry. Street corners hum with life, or at least with noise. A woman sells hot pies that hiss with steam. They smell amazing. They also glisten oddly. You pass. Next to her, a boy offers fresh water. From where, you ask. He grins. Don't ask. A man shouts about eels. You don't see any. Only a rusty bucket and the confidence of someone with nothing to lose. You step around a puddle. It's not water. A cart barrels past, splashing muck across your boots. The driver doesn't slow down. He doesn't even glance back. Welcome to the middle of the day in London. Noon isn't peaceful here. It's a competition. You compete for space, for air, for enough dry ground to keep your socks from dissolving. You pass a group of chimney sweeps, faces blackened, clothes torn, laughing harder than anyone should with lungs full of soot. You pass a woman collapsed on a step, child asleep in her lap, a paper sign in her hand, willing to scrub floors. No one stops. At a narrow alley, someone whistles at you. You don't turn. That's the rule. Turn and you might meet someone's fist, or worse, someone's proposal. The constables are visible. Blue coats, tall hats, blank expressions. One's lighting a pipe. The other's arguing with a goose vendor. You sidestep a mound of something unidentifiable, and immediately regret breathing through your nose. Then someone yells, "Move it!" You do. A cart loaded with crates of turnips nearly runs you over. You steady yourself on a lamppost that wobbles worryingly. You look up. The sun is trying to break through the fog. But it's no match. Just a pale smudge in a sky made of ash and sighs. And still, people push forward. With baskets, with tools, with children in tow and hope tucked somewhere in their coats. Because in Victorian London, the streets are alive. Not friendly, not fair, but undeniably alive. And surviving them? That's its own kind of job. By late afternoon, your body aches in places you didn't know could ache. You've dodged carts, sidestepped gutter sludge, and nearly been trampled by a man selling fish heads. Your boots are soaked. Your hands smell like rust. Your patience left sometime after the second shouted insult. You finally find a bit of wall to lean on. It's damp, but you're past caring. Across the street, two boys wrestle over an apple. It falls into the mud. They eat it anyway. A woman with a basket full of laundry stumbles as she walks. She's barefoot, her feet wrapped in cloth. And she keeps moving like she doesn't notice the bleeding. Nearby, a group of dockworkers barks at each other over pay. One of them is missing 2 fingers. Another is coughing so hard it makes your ribs hurt. No one reacts. Everyone coughs here. The sky hasn't changed much. Still heavy, still gray. Only the shadows shifting along the buildings suggest time has passed at all. You walk again. Past a butcher's stall where flies form a black halo. Past a beggar who mumbles to a wall. Past a schoolboy asleep on a step. His knuckles scraped, his satchel missing. You see the church clock in the distance. 4 o'clock. Or maybe 5. The bell sounds tired. You reach your street just as the lamps are being lit. Not that they help. The gaslight flickers like it's trying to decide whether to show mercy or disappear entirely. You're home. Or rather, you're at the place you sleep. It smells worse than the street. Someone's burnt soup. Or maybe socks. Possibly both. You sit on the edge of your cot. The straw pokes through the fabric like little reminders that comfort is for the rich. The room is full. 6 people. Not speaking. Just existing. The silence here isn't peace. It's exhaustion. You remove your boots slowly. There's no point hurrying now. Your toes are damp and red. You can't feel the left one. A neighbor coughs. Someone mutters something about soup. And in that moment, you realize you survived. You made it through another day in London. No broken bones. No arrests. No one stole your coat. Small victories. You lie back. The ceiling still leaks. The walls still groan. But the blanket is slightly warm. And that is enough. The noise outside fades now. Not because the city is quiet, but because your body is too tired to care. Somewhere a baby cries. Somewhere a door slams. But here, in this narrow space between hardship and sleep, you let it all slip. Your breath slows. The floor stops creaking. The world pulls back its claws, just for a little while, and as your eyes drift closed, you don't think of eels or fog or turnips. You think of quiet. Of one more sunrise. And maybe, just maybe, of a softer London that waits and dreams.